Hello there, and welcome to another edition of Hot Rod's Rants. Haven't been on here for a while, kind of laying low, but want to discuss today about the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournament increasing to 76 teams. I told you in a previous episode of Hot Rod's Rants that give them a minute and they'd fuck the basketball tournament up. And they're on their way. It's the best tournament in the world, and they want to just keep screwing shit up. I cannot believe that they're going to do this. And they've increased the amount of teams in the NCAA tournament 10 times since its beginning back in the early 1900s. And now it's up to 76 teams. Look, what makes a tournament great is competition. When you water the shit down to the point where the teams in the, 68's too many to me, but 76 teams, it should be about competition. When you water the shit down to a point where some of the teams that get in there aren't any good, what's the point? It's like bowl games in college football. I told you before, a 6-6 team does not belong in a bowl game. You're promoting average. You're average at 6-6. If you're the 76th best basketball team in the country, you don't fucking belong in the tournament. You don't belong in there. And I've heard the dickheads like Dan Dockich, well, there's 200 and some other teams that didn't get in. They don't deserve to get in. This is supposed to be a tournament for the best basketball teams. And that may sound naive, but I am one of the best or one of the biggest Indiana fans ever. I've been a fan for over 60 years. I've watched them since the 60s, and I love them. But they had if it was this year's, next year, or 2027's format, Indiana would have been in the tournament this year, and Indiana didn't belong in the fucking tournament. They couldn't beat Northwestern, who won, 3 Big Ten games? They don't belong in the tournament. And they would have got in, and they'd have got their ass beat, and they have no chance to win the national championship. So if you think that's cute, it's not cute. What this is about is money. It's about money. That's all it ever is about. And I read something where the NCAA said, well, it's a minimal, monetary gain. That's total bullshit. You don't do anything for a monetary gain. But back to according to guys like Dockich, which I hear him and Cuban are having a little bitch fight, I wish those two would just stop saying they're from Indiana, because you're embarrassing me. Dan Dockich is a fucking drama rat snitch. Anybody that would discuss text messages on his phone that he doesn't show to either his family or somebody that he considers a private close friend is a rat snitch. It's like, that's nobody's business but anyway, he has to get on there and tell the world that Mark Cuban's a liar. Well, if you didn't know Mark Cuban was a liar, Danny, I thought you were a street smart boy. Huh? Not so much, huh? Mark Cuban is an egotistical dude with a big mouth. He's kind of on the feminine side, and he's got a lot of money. He just so happens that he fucking went to Indiana, but if you two girls want to continue to argue with each other, quit saying you're from Indiana, okay? But anyway, this is about money. It's about two things. Number one, it's about money, and the other thing is the Power 5 conferences basically wanting to have their whole fucking conference in the NCAA tournament. I'm not sure, I'm not sure if it's more the Power 5 conferences are the TV's bitches or the TV stations, and ESPN are I know ESPN is the SEC's bitch. They pretty much, do what each other tell each other. Do what each other tell each other to do. This is, I don't know, this isn't a good thing, but it's about money. The presidents of the universities, the athletic directors, the TV stations, all of these folks, they're all phony liars. This has to do with cash money, more games, more money, more exposure. It's a funny thing about the university presidents. Weren't they the ones just not too long ago that didn't want to increase the football playoff because it's going to mess with the kids' the student athletes' finals, and the travel is going to mess up their schooling. This fucking has nothing. They're not students anymore. I told you, these are professional athletes. Half these fuckers don't even go to school. This has nothing to do with school. And if you want to fund this shit so much, why don't you get, you guys are phony as shit. You college presidents, you run around and you teach our young people that communism and socialism and all this bullshit, and tax the rich and tax the billionaires and the millionaires, but you fuckers got endowments worth hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars, and yet you don't want to pay fucking taxes on them. I believe actually your rate now is like 1.4% tax and shit on billions of dollars, and you got stocks and gold and properties and all that shit that's untouchable, but yet you want fucking, private citizens to fund your college. You guys are just sickening. You come across as intellectuals because you can fucking read, but you don't know what color your socks are. What a bunch of clowns. So you want to always talk about, it ain't about the money. It's all about the money. It's all about the fucking money. So you're going to increase a tournament, water it down. We're going to have more teams, a lot of bad teams that don't belong in there, just because you want to make more money, and the Power 5 conference bitch because they want their whole conference in there. That's what this is about. The rest of it's all bullshit. You've had guys like ESPN and Jay Billis, who's wants to be fucking the Kirk Herbstreit of football. That's something to aspire to. That's like wanting to be 600 pounds. Anyway, I heard him arguing with John Calipari that 18-year-old kids are full-grown men. That might be the most ignorant fucking statement in the history of the earth. 18-year-old kids are not men. I have two sons, one's 42 and one's 35, and they were not men at 18 or 19 or 20 or 21 or 22 or 23. They might have been physically a man, but intellectually and emotionally and intelligent-wise, they weren't even close. Jay Billis, you weren't a fucking man at 18. I can remember you. I'm older than you. You weren't a man at 18 either. And making fucking comments like that, you're still not a man. What's the matter with you? They say that girls mature quicker than guys. Well, then that means that if you have a daughter and she's 18, you really don't give a shit if she's dating a 45-year-old, right? Because they're both adults. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard of. They're not men. They're 18 and 19-year-olds. But anyway, that's off on a tangent. Back to the NCAA tournament. That's why they're doing this. So I say, hey, why not skip all the bullshit, But what I was saying is Jay Billis was whining, no, you can't. You got to give the college kids money. They can't buy a pizza, a fucking $250,000 education with connections and shit to jobs they'd never get in 100,000 years if they couldn't dribble a basketball or tackle someone or hit a baseball isn't enough for them. So you got them paid, and you got them transfer portals, and you got them 46 years in fucking college. So why do we have to have this meeting every 2 years and change the shit? Let's just get it over with. Let every fucking team in Division I play in the NCAA basketball tournament. Let them all in. Be like Dan Dawkins. Let every fucking school in the country in. Let them all in. Let them all in. All right? Just start playing the tournament in January 1st. And when they're done, they're done. Okay? And let's make it, you can stay in college till you're 40 years old. All right? Then we don't have to fucking go to court and sue for the whiny little sumbitches that can only play 7-8 years. Well, I haven't made enough money yet, so I'm going to sue somebody so I can stay in college longer and fleece the system out of more fucking money, which ain't coming out of the endowments. It was supposed to be name, image, likeness, where the local car dealer and shit could use your name, image, and likeness. Well, now it's just the way it was. It's boosters and rich people just lining the pockets. Ain't got nothing to do with a car dealership. But this is the way you wanted it. This is, the poor college kid. Well, the poor college kid now, you created the fucking system, and now you want to whine about it. But the NCAA tournament, you should have left that alone. and you're going to fuck it up. 76 teams, it'll still be a good tournament because we'll eventually get around to the good teams. It's just we're going to have, 12 teams from each power conference. That's all this is about. And the cash. You phony liars, it's about the cash. You same little fuckers that whine every year about Notre Dame's cash, but yet you don't want nobody getting a hold of your fucking endowments, do you? Not even the tax man, although you want to tax the rich. Anyway, so let's just do this. Every school, and then, in the spirit of fairness, of course, you got to be fair. You know what I mean? Because competition, hey, everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's a great player. All you're doing here is promoting average. And average is okay if that's the best you can do. But if you're average because people put it in your head that it's okay to be average if you don't try your best, that's a fucking terrible message for our youth. If you have a scoreboard, you try to win. The more teams you have, the more watered down it'll be, the weaker the competition. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to find out who's the best team, not how many we can get in there so people don't get their fucking feelings hurt. All right? So, if you're going to do this, because you're going to do it, 76 won't be enough. In fucking a year and a half from now or 2 years, you'll want 100 teams, and then 115 teams, and then 120, and you'll all get on there and whine and bitch and lie and fucking do whatever you do. So let them all in. Let them play till they're 40. Put a cap on it. All they can make is $100 million. And that they have unlimited transfer portal. They can transfer everywhere they want. Okay? And then you can just get rid of the NBA and the NFL and shit. We can just do it right there. Why do we have to have 2 professional leagues? Huh? Because the amount of money, because now it has nothing to do with recruiting. It has nothing to do with 5-star players and shit. Who's got the most cash? Who can get the oldest players? Who can buy the best team? Tradition goes out the fucking window. And, I've ranted about this before, but you're messing with the NCAA men's basketball tournament. There shouldn't be 76 teams. There shouldn't be 68 fucking teams. If you're not in the top 50 in the country, and not by what Bubba and a bunch of old fuckers in a room that all know each other and blow each other decide, it's pretty easy to tell the top 50 teams if you have a brain in your head. And if you're from a big conference and you're, here remains the argument. Well, is the 12th best team in the Big Ten better than the champions of the MAC? I don't know. Fucking let them play. You guys that always say, well, we'd like to have all the Power 5. Then how come none of you fuckers go on the road and play these teams? I've heard these coaches, well, we don't like to go in those gyms and play because we might get beat. Well, if you might get beat, then you're not fucking good enough to be in the tournament. All right? If you're worried about mid-major schools beating you, you got more shit to worry about than getting in the tournament. So if you're such badasses and everybody, then play somebody. Then go play in Miami, Ohio early in the year in their gym. Get in there. Get the fuck in there and let's find out. Okay? But the biggest problem here is you're going to water this shit down. It's like everything. You're going to ruin it because you can't keep your fucking hands out of shit. And the minute you see money, look at the money. Oh, let's get that shit. Let's get that shit. Oh, my God, you greedy fuckers. And you lie about it. So anyway, like I said before, here's the deal. Let them play till they're 40. Let every team in. Put a cap of $100 million and let them transfer as much as they want. Okay? Because basically all ESPN and the other, they're just marketing arms of these fucking teams. And Adidas and Nike are, funding the shit. Not as much as they used to because now you just got money pouring in. And the fuckers are, like fat dudes in a cake factory. They can't get that shit shoveled in their mouth fast enough. So anyway, I'll continue to watch because I love basketball. And I even hear they're talking about NIL in high school. I'm not intellectually smart enough to say how fucking retarded that is. If you want to ruin sports, just fucking ruin it. And let's get it over with. But 76 teams in the tournament is a shitty idea. And anybody that don't think so is fucking stupid. Peace.